Good morning, everybody. So my name is Professor Jim Kennis, and this is my colleague, Guy Poma, and we're going to present the Hostos Math Web App. This is an application that I use in my classes, in my remedial classes in particular. And Mr. Poma is going to present the history, and then I'm going to actually show you what I see and what we do with the application itself. So we'll actually look at the application now.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So let me just tell you a little bit about the history of the Math Web App. Now we call it an app, but actually it's an application, and it's a web-based application. Now, in terms of history, we started like about 15 years ago, and what we wanted to do is to have a system in which students can practice mathematics. And these two courses, Math 10 and Math 20, are remedial courses at Hostos Community College. Now, at the beginning, we actually took like 2 years, 3 faculty members, a programmer, all coming together to create this system from the ground up. Now, one thing that I like that faculty say is that because this system is actually created in-house, we can actually manage the system, we can modify the system if we want, and faculty do like the system, and students also tend to like the system. So it took about 2 years of work, the programmer creating the software part of the system, and faculty members creating the content for the system. Originally, we use something that's called a PDA. A PDA is like a small handheld computer, and on those days it was state of the art, right? We got it, and we gave this out to students. They will we will load the practices on the PDAs, and they will practice anywhere and at any time they want to. We started with 2 faculty members. The 2 faculty members are here, actually, Professor Kennis and Professor Glover. And we distribute these PDAs to students. They took them home. They used them the whole semester. And it was really a great experience for them, not only for the faculty, but also especially for the students. Now, over time, these PDAs, these little devices, they became antiquated. So what we have decided is to keep the content, the practices, because that doesn't change. However, the technology changed. So we had to come up with another solution. And we got to again, sit down on a table and decide what we're going to do from now on. And we decided to make it web-based. So you can use any browser, any device. So we wanted to have a system that it wasn't just for a PDA. It wasn't only for a small computer. You could use an iPad, you could use a laptop, you could use any device. And we also found that the students have smartphones, right? Most of them. And we wanted to take that knowledge and use those devices. So again, same content, but different system, a web-based system. It was integrated with the email from Hostos Community College, so they don't need to actually remember another username or password. And another thing that we actually did, and something that works, is that we make it like a game. So they actually have to get the highest score. So they do the practice, and then let's say they get 40% the first time around. Then they do it again, then they will get like 50%. So the goal is to actually get to 100%. And they could practice, and they could do this as many times as they want. And in math, we know that the more you practice, the better. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Professor Keynes.
Yeah, so part of the software, one of the things that I really like about this that I found is that initially I didn't like this idea that students could retake these quizzes per se or redo these applications, but students can retake them. And I was quite surprised, and we'll show you some of the student responses here. Students have taken some of these as many as 8 times, which to me actually, in stepping back, is actually a good thing because that means they've logged on 8 different times and they have attempted these assignments. And to me, I view them just as homework, which is, of course, a good thing. Another thing is that because it's online, the professors can view the progress anytime. So let me show you what I see at my end when I log in. So let me just log in here. How can I hide this? Right there? Mm-hmm. It's still kind of sticking out. There we go. So when I log in to see what my students are doing, this is what I'll see. So this is the page that I'll see, and you can see this is for Math 010, but you can see all these sections. These are remedials. Math 010 at Hostos Community College is basic arithmetic skills, so essentially kindergarten through 6th grade math. And Math 020 is our introductory algebra class. Okay, so we don't get conics or anything. It's the elementary algebra class. So these are the classes that I've taught in the past. Is this a touch screen? No. So let's just scroll down here to the current term. And I have one section of Math 010 currently that's using this, 249A. So let me just click on that so you can see what I see. So here we go. These are the different practices that the students can see and do. You can see we have whole numbers A, B, and C, fractions A and B, decimals, basic algebra, ratios. Let me scroll down some more here. So you can see all the topics: proportions, percents, sign numbers, powers of 10, measurements, scientific notation, square roots, etc. Now what I do is I will assign to the students. Initially when we started doing this, I was assigning the students, say, everybody do ratios A and it's due next week Friday. And what I found that happened was, students turn in homework assignments late, and what would happen is the next few weeks, students would be coming up to me and saying, can I still do that assignment? Can I still do that assignment? So I've changed my behavior in the classroom. Now, once the students are introduced to this, what I say is, do all of the A's, and they're due the last day of class, just like that. So I don't even go on this until really the last day of class, unless a student asks me specifically, are you receiving my input? In which case I'll go on and check for the student and say, yep, I got it. I see you did it 3 times. So for example, the semester's ending for all intents and purposes next week. So next week, Thursday, I will log on to this and I will go through all of the A's and see the students' grades. Now, before I show you that end of it, we registered Mr. Poma as a student. So you want to come up here and log in as a student and maybe take a practice?
Sure. So this is the faculty view. So now I'm going to show you the student view. It's a little bit different. Well, it is different because they have to do the practices in there. So again, it's just a Hostos email.
We'll come back to my view with the student's grades after he does one of these quizzes per se, okay, or homeworks.
Now on this side we have the link for the class. So students click on the link and they just go into a practice that they want to do, whole numbers A. And as you can see, I've done this a few times. I'm going to take a new test.
So this is exactly what the student would do. He would click on take a new test, and
And this is the first question. What does the digit 7 mean in the numbers 657,113? Do anybody know the answer?
You can get it right or wrong, but still.
Well, I'm just going to pick one. I'm going to go to the next question. What is the correct word name for 73,000?
I think you just said it.
So you can see they have four choices. They pick the right one or they pick the wrong one, right? And they just keep on going. This is the third question. I'm just picking one.
See if you could beat your high score. You're guessing high score.
This is a little bit harder, right? So the students really have to take their time to do this, right? Guessing might work a little bit, but definitely you need to work out these problems, these practices.
If I may also interrupt here, the questions are not in the same order for all the students. Okay, so they can't pick up the telephone and say, number 2 is letter B, for example. So it kind of alleviates, for lack of a better term, cheating, if you will.
The sets are stable.
The sets are stable, yes.
So we have 10 questions per practice. So this is the last question that I'm going to answer. And when I do, I see finish the test now. And that's going to give me my score. So let's see how I'm doing in Professor Kennis's class. So I got a 30%. So that means only 3 questions were answered correctly. Which ones were those? The first question, the second, and possibly the 10th or the 9th, right? And now, if I want to do it again, I just go back to the main screen and I do the process again.
Does the students see each of their attempts?
Yes. Yes, they see every single attempt. And if I go here, all numbers A, right? Here we go. Every single one, the date, the time, the score. And the good thing about this system is that it only keeps the highest score. And that's what Professor Kennis will say.
It sends me only the highest score.
Can you review a previous attempt? Like your 40 there, the one on
The second one?
the second one down.
Review which ones were wrong.
If you click on that, what does it show you?
It's going to show me the ones that the question that I did, but not the actual question. Yes,
Because the questions themselves are
randomized also.
so.
Question 2
There
is
are
not
10. There are 10 questions pulled from a bank.
From a pool, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
And
That was made in-house.
yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, if you're familiar with Math Excel, you can actually program it.
Yes.
So you can generate
Right.
essentially an infinite number of tests
Right.
that are equal in skill level,
Yeah.
allegedly,
Yes.
but just kind of changing the digits or numbers around.
Okay, so now I finished my test. Professor Kennis will come, log in, and we'll show you what
Let me
he
show you
sees.
what I'll see after he takes his test. And the nice thing about this, everybody, is of course it's in-house. The students don't have to buy this. It's made in-house. I think it's just beautiful. So here we are again, and let me go down to this class, down here at the bottom of the page. So I click on here, and I go to whole numbers A. And by the way, I didn't show you this the first time, so here it is now. This is my current class, by the way. Okay, so you can see there are a lot of students that haven't done it at all. The student tried it twice. We have one down here who's tried it 5 times. And this is their grades, their highest grade. So let's find Ebers. He's down here at the bottom. And lo and behold, he's tried it 10 times.
I'm winning.
And his high, well, I don't know, winning on this or winning on this, his highest score is 75.
So it only records the highest score. Remember, I got a 30.
Any questions on this part before I move on?
As far as the game part, students are just competing with themselves to get the highest.
Yes,
So they
yeah.
don't see each other.
They don't see each other's. They don't see each other's. I'm not sure how I would feel about that. I would have to have like a discussion. I don't know if I'd want students seeing each other's grades. Although I must admit, after an exam, I will write, 90, 80, 70, and I'll write all the grades in the class. No one knows whose number is who, but I'll be like, before I pass it out, I'll be like, find your grade. What's your grade? What do you think you got on this exam? And, they're all there. And actually, when I do that, I find it very interesting for me because you could see the clumps. I mean, was it a nice bell curve with everyone clumped in the middle, or was it bimodal, which is usually my case. That's usually my case. Usually I have students that are up here and down here, and nobody's happy with the professor because the strong students are bored, the weak students I'm going too fast for. We always struggle to find that happy medium. So let me go back to the PowerPoint then. Can I just close this out? Just close it down. And
Minimize.
can you help me out here?
Sure.
I'm not sure where it is. Okay, thank you. Thanks. Okay, so this program was piloted with 4 professors, all of us teaching mathematics. Matter of fact, 3 of us are in this classroom now. Mr. Ruben Morrell, and in the back, Professor Henry Glover. And currently the situation is, the nice thing about us doing this is that this semester I'm teaching 2 classes, 2 of the remedial classes. So in one of my classes I'm using the Math Web App, and the other I am not. So I mean it's a perfect control because it's the same class. The only thing that's really different is one class is at a different time than the other. Other than that though, same instructor, same class, same exam, same everything. So just some data and some numbers to consider here. From our previous data last semester, we found that the experimental group had a 33% higher passing rate than the control group. Although also the incomplete rate for the experimental group was reduced. I'm not sure if that has anything to do with this. However, okay, it's something that I want to highlight. This I liked. We passed out a survey to the students and also online, and we had a nice number, 134 participants. 80% said that they found the Math Web App was helpful, okay, which I think that's a pretty good number. Anecdotally, I'm speaking in a sense on behalf of my 2 colleagues here in this room. We all believe that this Math Web App is a good thing for our students and the classroom. Our students seem to like it, and it's definitely another tool for the classroom, the remedial classroom, that we find beneficial. And we got preliminary results, seem to follow the same, meaning anecdotally, us professors still like it. My students who have it in the class also seemingly like it. So I'm getting positive feedback. But again, this semester's not over yet. Yeah, future work. Of course, we need money. We're gonna always need the money.
How much you need?
You got a checkbook? We'll compare the new data to the last semester. And hopefully we can expand this app into other mathematics courses aside from just the remedials right now. And the number of professors who participate using it. Thank you for your time. Is there any questions? Anybody? Any questions? Please say.
So regarding the homework, so the quizzes, you said you consider them homework, right? You have a viewpoint.
Okay, here.
And so are they counted into the course grade?
So my students get a take-home quiz, take-home quiz every week from me. I keep their top 10 quiz scores. Okay, that's my kick in the pants because a lot of my students don't even buy the textbook.
Yeah.
All right, so so my take-home quizzes aren't quizzes, to me they're homework. But with quizzes, they're getting rewarded for it because they'll get a grade for it. So they're 10-point quizzes, they're take home every week. I keep their top 10 scores, that's 100 points, counts for a quiz. My exams actually count 15%. My quizzes, or the top 10 quizzes, count 20 in my class. So I highlight to the students, hey, do these quizzes. They count more than the exams, actually, in terms of the percentage-wise. So with the online quizzes, again, same thing. I'll keep their top 10 quiz scores. That's what I do. And the beauty of it is, compared to the paper and pencil, they can retake them. They can retake them. The paper and pencil, they cannot. You know, I grade it, and that's it. Next, let's move on.
So I know we're almost at the end of the semester, but from your previous semesters, I can see a lot of people haven't tried it yet. Does it seem like it's really beneficial because they'll sort of cram and do them at the end, and it's just like redo it, like so that they can help prepare for the final, because it's very clearly showing them these are the important topics of the course, but I see a lot of students haven't done it, but it seemed to be really beneficial, so maybe use the time.
What I find the students that do it and don't, again, it's almost bimodal. You got the strong students. Strong not necessarily in terms of the mathematics, but strong in terms of ethics. Actually, they're academically mature. They're going to do it. Then what happens is you got this blank in the middle, and then you got the weaker students who are doing it to try to crawl to pass the class and save face and pass the class. That's what I see happen. You know, if I have students that are getting 80s, 90s, 80s, it's only a pass-fail class, and they know this. So they know if they're getting all 80s and 90s on the midterms and my personal exams, that they're probably going to pass the class. So I think some of them are just like, let's not do this. But again, no one has talked poorly of this or said it's too much work. They like it because they can do it anywhere. They could do this on the bus. I mean, so they enjoy that. And I think the fact that I give them the whole semester, you do them all. Next week, when I log on, we will have very different numbers here. There are going to be a lot more students because that last minute cram is what I find. I'm not sure if I answered your question.
I wanted to know how that was really used by the students in the class, and so that's helpful.
Okay.
The students who may be doing very well see like it's extra and they don't need that extra push, or that they don't see the benefit from it.
Now,
I mean,
now,
you know.
Just to add a little bit here, another professor, what he actually does, he assigns practices each week, right? So this is a different approach. So, yeah.
Right. I tried that. Whole numbers A this week, fractions A next week. I tried that. It didn't work well for me. We all have different styles up here.
Right.
So whatever works for you. But this is a fantastic app. I wish OAA would. I'm hoping that they'll continue with this. I really am. I mean, the students like it, and of course, anything that they can do. And any math at any time, I'm elated. I'm happy if they're doing or thinking math at any time. So this gives them the opportunity to do just that on the bus, on the train. So I like that a lot.
Can you outline the distinction between the A, B, and C versions of the quizzes under each topic? Are they pulling from different pools? Are they intended for students to like?
I actually don't know the answer to that.
They actually are in groups, right, by topic. So we have a pool of questions for whole numbers.
Yes.
We have
And
another, yeah,
ABC.
yeah. And it's randomized. So every time that the students will take it, they will get different answers, and the order will be different, and different questions.
Yeah. But there are three, I saw A, B, and C.
A, B, and C.
So is that, if every time I take A, it's pulling a random selection,
Right.
the same pool, or
no.
is B a different pool?
No,
I
B
don't know.
is a different pool,
Okay.
and C is a different pool, yeah.
Thanks for the question.
Thank you.
I didn't
Thank
know
you.
that. I didn't
Yeah.
know that. Thank you.
Kind of question, comment. I'm very interested to hear what the outcome is regarding the timing, because I'm also struggling with the same issue where I have been traditionally, giving my students a week and giving them a deadline to complete their, online homework. And I also am, finding that students want extensions, things happen, and I do try to give leeway where I grant, but it's happening so often. I am considering, like you, just, the idea of leaving the sets open. My worry is, Eva, brought up that are there going to be procrastinators who like wait till the end and then.
There will be.
So what I'm trying to do now, which I don't know, I'll let you know if I have success with this, is that we can enable like reduced scoring. So the students who do it in the week get the full credit, who do it on time, but then they have an extension period where they can still go back and get points, but they won't get the full score. So the incentive is try to do it on time if they can, but they still can earn points.
I'm much more gentle in my remedial classes. In my college level classes, I also give weekly quizzes, okay, and homework assignments in my college level classes. However, there I'm not so gentle. If they don't turn in the quizzes on time, I will accept them late, but they will be penalized. For a 10-point quiz, I take off a point. So the best they can get is not, because also usually I've returned them by then. So how do I know they're not just copying? I don't, but we do, because we know who's who. She's calling it. Sorry. I have the gift of gab. Thank you, everybody. Thank you.